Hi, everybody. Before I start, I want to make the very happy announcement that we only have 10 minutes left before EngineYard tab opens at Max's, so prepare yourselves. Okay, I'm here to talk to you about being awesome as a cop with an axe riding on top of a Tyrannosaurus Rex that breathes fire and has machine gun arms. And in fact, it only takes 2.5 steps, of which the first one is get a Tyrannosaurus Rex that breathes fire and has machine gun arms. I'm a weird guy to talk about being awesome because I am not, in fact, myself awesome. But I've made a study of being awesome. And if you want to know why I can't follow the easy steps that I'm about to give to you, ask me after, and I will happily tell you about my litany of faults. Step one is to start stuff. As you can see from this entirely unscientific graph, the more things you start, the more awesome you become. Raw, right? This is raw data. Obviously, we're going to have to adjust this later. But if you never start anything, you're a slacker and you're not awesome. If you start lots of stuff, you have a much better chance of being awesome. But you may ask, what should I start? That's an excellent question, because if you start lame stuff, you're never going to be awesome. So the way I like to look at starting things is, where are my pain points? Where are problems that people I'm around see? And I try to always have an eye towards what I could possibly start. I have a plethora of Moleskines and Field Notes and other physical notebooks. I have a virtual notebook where I constantly keep ideas that I could start on if I had the time. And when I do have the time, one of the driving factors in picking which one to work on is I need to think small. I want to start small things as opposed to big projects, because that leads us directly into step 2, which should come up right about now, is finishing stuff. If you're starting giant, world-changing projects, you're much less likely to finish them than if you're taking baby steps. And as you can see from this entirely unscientific graph, the more things you finish, the more awesome you're going to be. If you never finish anything, then you're a loser. If you finish everything, then you're awesome. Again, we'll have to adjust that later. So, how do I finish stuff, right? I told you how to start stuff or where to look for things to start, but finishing stuff is actually something that a lot of us have a lot of problems with. We're procrastinators, we get distracted by shiny objects, maybe that's just me. The best thing I can do to tell you on how to finish stuff is to build a habit of finishing. Be a finisher, be a closer if you're a salesperson. Every day, have a calendar where you're tracking your progress on everything that you've started and make sure you're making progress. Have a defined goal. If you don't know when you're finished, you're never going to be finished. Right? Thank you, whistle person. Right. So the other really interesting thing about having a defined goal is that it lets you see how close you are at any given point to finishing, right? So one of the most effective ways of becoming a finisher is by being a smaller finisher. When you see yourself getting closer to the end goal, that's motivating in and of itself and gets you closer to finishing it the next step and finishing the next step. And so if you're writing code, maybe you have a bunch of applications you want to build, go and deploy the first one somewhere, maybe a line node, whatever, I don't care. Deploy it on the first day, and then you've got a little extra bump on the second day to deploy the next feature and the next feature. And you're taking baby steps. You're building really, really small pieces, but every time you finish one of those small pieces, it's like crack. It gets you hooked on the emotion of finishing things, and you're more likely to finish the next thing. So start lots of things, finish lots of things, but there's another step. It's actually quit lots of things, or maybe not lots of things. Be a quitter. That's right, Nick. This is free. No, kidding. As you can see from my entirely unscientific graph, right? When you start nothing and you finish nothing, you never finish anything. When you start way too much stuff and never quit anything, you can't finish anything. The reason is because there's never enough time, right? I could start 100,000 different projects, 100 every day, and I wouldn't be able to finish them at all. There's just never enough time in the day, particularly when you add in family and work and friends and Max's for beers after this. It's really, really hard to finish everything. So you have to sort of move things off your plate. And I think of this like stale bread, right? When there's a project that I just do not want to work on, I see it on my to-do list and I'll move that to tomorrow. And I'll move it to tomorrow. After a couple times, I just kick it off the project because I'm never going to finish it. But when you do start abandoning projects, you need to quit gracefully whenever you can, right? So say you have 100 open source projects on GitHub and people are using them and you want to quit them, you can't just abandon them and let them linger. You need to help people who use them find an alternative or find a maintainer while keeping in mind that only quitters win. If you never quit anything, then you're never going to succeed in anything. This is my built-in pause for breath. So to recap, the way to be awesome is to start lots of stuff, finish lots of stuff, and quit all the stuff that's not making you awesome. Right? And as you can see from my entirely unscientific graph, there is a happy medium where you get pretty close to being 100% awesome. So go out, start something today, throw a baby with a unicorn horn at something, and finish that thing off. That's it.